the world says farewell. Mother Teresa receives a full state funeral in Calcutta as her order vows that her work will go on. Hurricane Linda is on the move and churning up worries along the Pacific coast. And record first-day sales in Britain for Elton John's tribute to Princess Diana.
This is the CBS Evening News with Paula Zahn.
Good evening. Mother Teresa lies in her final resting place tonight. Following a state funeral, she was buried inside the headquarters of the order she founded to help those no one else would, the Missionaries of Charity. In Calcutta, CBS News correspondent Dan Rather is heading up our coverage.
Good evening from Calcutta. India, the Roman Catholic Church, and the world said goodbye today to one of the most memorable and influential personalities of the 20th century, Mother Teresa. A humble nun of Albanian heritage, she found her calling in this place among the poorest of the poor. Mother Teresa's service to God, to this land, and to these people was unique in every way. So how fitting that today's ceremony and pageantry was one of a kind, wide in scope and reach, deep in feeling.
Mother Teresa's body began its final journey on a military gun carriage. The same carriage that had carried the body of India's revered independence leader Mahatma Gandhi. But this wasn't a state funeral for a founding father. It was for a simple Catholic nun, a nun the Indian people grew to love and simply knew as mother. Soldiers sat opposite nuns and priests as the funeral cortege made its way through Calcutta streets. Thousands of mourners lined the route, at times breaking through police barriers to get a final look at the woman they called the saint of the gutters. Mother Teresa's disciples sang as her body was carried by soldiers into a sports stadium for a funeral mass.
The presence of so many dignitaries at this service is itself a testimony to the extraordinary influence Mother Teresa had on the heart of the world.
Queens, presidents, and America's First Lady Hillary Clinton all attended the service, along with people with whom Mother Teresa was much more familiar.
An orphan child,
a leprosy patient, a handicapped and deaf person.
They all took part, the people Mother Teresa had dedicated her life to help. Pope John Paul II could not attend, but in a message the Pope said Mother Teresa had lit a flame of love, and it must be carried forward.
In his name, I thank you for all that you have done for the poor of the world. Dear Mother Teresa, rest in peace. Dear Mother Teresa, pray for us. Amen.
The memorial service over, Mother Teresa's casket was taken from the gun carriage for a last time at the Mother House, headquarters of her religious order. At a plain, private burial ceremony, Mother Teresa of Calcutta, a living saint to her followers, was finally laid to rest.
Today's ceremonies for Mother Teresa had special impact across the breadth of Calcutta, and they affected many more people than just the invited guests. CBS's Richard Threlkeld has that part of the story.
There were thousands of people who lined the route of Mother Teresa's funeral cortege, a testament to the love and respect Calcutta and all of India felt for her. But most of Calcutta went on about its work and play. Life here is real and earnest, and people had to get on with it despite their feelings. I've been crying since the day she died, says the woman, because she's all we had. One of Mother Teresa's most prominent acquaintances, First Lady Hillary Clinton, went from the funeral to an orphanage run by Mother Teresa's Missionaries of Charity and spent some time visiting and, by her presence, hoping to draw people to follow Mother Teresa's way.
The work she started and gave her life to will continue. It will be carried forward by the Missionaries of Charity and by people of faith and goodwill who are inspired by their example.
Perhaps, but the Mother's Missionary Order and the destitute neighborhoods of Calcutta that depend on it face a real crisis. It will now be much harder to raise money, to get things done, now that there's no longer a Mother Teresa. And in the slums, they are worried. There is nobody to look after us, she says, now that Mother is gone. Mother Teresa used to say that the worst disease in the world is being unwanted. It would be a cruel irony if, because of her death, these people would wind up more unwanted than ever. Richard Threlkeld, CBS News, Calcutta.
And so we conclude a memorable day in a memorable week here in the heat and monsoon of Calcutta. For all of her adult life, Mother Teresa separated herself from the outside world to devote herself entirely to helping the poor and the sick and the dying. To a degree that no outsider could ever imagine, Mother Teresa worked miracles here every day. And then, at the end, Mother Teresa worked one final miracle. The outside world, which she had left, came to her to pay its respects, to give its honors, and to express one last time its thanks.
And Dan, thank you. Still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, the latest on Hurricane Linda. How big a threat does it pose to the California coast? Plus, tough academic standards for college athletes. Are they unfair to some African Americans? And the stampede at a British record shop to buy Elton John's tribute to Princess Diana.
When it comes to getting in shape, the things we do to our bodies, we jar our joints and impact our bodies in ways that can wear us out, aging us before our time. Now, Nordic Track introduces the new Ellipse, the fitness breakthrough that pioneers the use of elliptical motion for a superior total body workout with virtually no impact. And that makes it better for your body. If suspended in air, the human body would naturally move in a non-jarring elliptical path. The Ellipse simulates this motion, virtually eliminating harmful impact, while treadmills cut the motion short, causing impact to your body. With all these features, Ellipse keeps you motivated, so you'll see results. The Ellipse Total Body Exerciser does it all in a fun and easy motion. Call now for your free video and brochure. Ellipse can be yours for just $29.95 a month. Try it at home for 30 days. If you're not completely satisfied, return it for a refund. Call now, the new Nordic Track Ellipse, the shape that's better for your body.
What would you give to be more confident? What would you give for the knowledge it takes to move with certainty through every business day?
Just $3.90 a week brings you the Wall Street Journal. Our personal finance guide and decision maker software is free with your paid 10-week subscription. Call now, 800-722-3100. That's 800-722-3100 for the Wall Street Journal.
Hurricane Linda, the most powerful ever recorded in the Eastern Pacific. It weakened slightly tonight, but it still has Southern California worried. Joining us now is CBS News consultant Brian Norcross, who's been tracking Linda from the CBS News Hurricane Center in Miami. Brian, where is Linda now, and how bizarre is this storm system?
It's very, very unusual, Paula. As you say, the strongest ever recorded in the Eastern Pacific, and with El Nino having the water there unusually warm, we have a combination of events that we've never seen before, as long as we have records which go back over 100 years. Now let's go right to the satellite picture here, and I can show you where the storm is. Here you see Baja California over here, and there you see the center of Linda. Now you notice we don't see the eye quite as well any longer, and that is part of this weakening process. But I think it may be just part of a cyclical weakening that's normal with all hurricanes and not the long-term weakening that we do expect to see as it moves to the north.
But if Linda maintains her present strength, how much rain can folks anticipate in Southern California?
It would be a tremendous amount of rain. We don't think the storm will be as strong with the wind as it is right now. Here, let me go to a little different kind of satellite picture here. And here you can see what's going on. Here's the hurricane moving to the north right now. And then here we have an upper level, what's called a dip in the jet stream, a trough in the jet stream. So as Linda gets up here off of the Southern California coast, we expect it to veer in. But the water in this area is nowhere near as warm as it is where Linda is right now. So we do expect the storm to weaken, but we also expect the system to maintain its moisture. So it's the rain that could be a serious, serious problem beginning about late Tuesday in the LA to San Diego area.
And we will certainly keep you all on top of this latest information. Thanks, Brian, so much for your insights. In Lebanon, the Secretary General of the Hezbollah guerrilla group says his son was killed yesterday in a battle with Israeli soldiers. Members of the pro-Iranian group rallied today to pledge a continued fight against the Israeli forces who occupy a portion of southern Lebanon. Secretary of State Madeleine Albright arrived in Saudi Arabia today after talks in Egypt with President Mubarak. The Saudi Crown Prince called Albright brave, but a Saudi newspaper says her visit to the Middle East to restart peace talks has been, quote, profoundly disappointing. Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, One-on-One with San Francisco's Mayor Willie Brown.
I don't know whether or not I'm really a good politician.
Maybe you've never been in an accident, but I bet you've got airbags. And maybe your house has never burned down, but I bet you've got smoke detectors. You're prepared for everything, but I bet you don't have flood insurance. The truth is, homeowners insurance doesn't cover flood damage. Now flood insurance is easy to get from the National Flood Insurance Program. So call your insurance company agent or this number. Because with floods, you can never say never. The National Flood Insurance Program. We can't replace your memories, but we can help you build new ones.
My name is Marjorie. I'm 65 and on Medicare. I use insulin to control my diabetes, and I'm low on my diabetic testing supplies. I should be driving to the drugstore now, but I'm not. Medicare covers my supplies, and I could be filling out these forms now, but I'm not. I could be paying out of pocket for all my daily testing supplies, but I'm not. Thanks again. Liberty Medical does it all for me.
If you're on Medicare and use insulin to control your diabetes, call Liberty Medical. Get free home delivery of your diabetic testing supplies with the cost billed directly to Medicare. You'll have no upfront out-of-pocket expense, no inconvenient trips to the drugstore, no forms to file. Your satisfaction's guaranteed.
I could be just a little pressed for time and cash, but I'm not.
For more information on home delivery, call Liberty Medical, 1-800-428-5353. You'll save time and money.
Montana. What has the most value? Its gold or its natural treasures? The state looks for answers this Sunday morning.
Burglary, not bounty, is the alleged reason 5 men stormed a house in Phoenix and killed 2 people last month. Prosecutors in Arizona now say the men pretended to be bounty hunters to get out of trouble. Charges against the suspects have been upgraded to first-degree murder. The week-long transit strike that brought San Francisco to a standstill is ending. After marathon bargaining, negotiators reached a tentative contract agreement early today for the Bay Area rapid transit system. All 2,600 workers are expected to be back on the job in time for Monday morning's commute. Well, the man in the middle of the week-long strike was San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown, who intervened to bring the two sides together. But then again, there's not much that goes on in San Francisco he doesn't have his hand in. And that's tonight's One-on-One, a talk with Willie Brown, the one-of-a-kind mayor of the city by the Bay.
I'm in a marvelous city. San Francisco is singularly the best place, frankly, in the world of politics for individuality, for independence, and for freedom. And that's what San Francisco is about. This is my political world, so to speak.
Willie Brown is in his element. After an unprecedented 31 years in the Assembly, 14 of them as Speaker, the most powerful politician in the state after the governor, he is now almost halfway through his first term as mayor.
You're finding your life politically more satisfying today?
I think there's no way to compare the power of the Speaker to the power of a mere mayor. But from a personal satisfaction standpoint, This is a more powerful position because I can see on a daily basis my successes.
Among those successes, a 30% drop in the crime rate, new construction projects, including a stadium for the city's football team, new funding for health care services. He particularly relishes the smaller victories.
Today, they installed a newspaper rack. I could theorize about that at the state level forever and never see the end result.
He has come a long way from Mineola, Texas, where he was born 63 years ago. Then a segregated town, Brown worked his way up the hard way, as a shoeshine boy, as a janitor during college and law school.
That's the mayor's. That's where the mayor goes.
Yet this child of hardscrabble, Texas is in his element in the gold-leafed opera house that just reopened this week.
Are there times where you just have to pinch yourself?
Every day.
When you think back
Every day.
to the way you grew up
Every day.
and what came your way?
How can it have happened to me? How can this be? Here I am. This is like having a world on the string. You know, doesn't get any better.
Brown revels in controversy, overseeing a mass wedding of gay couples.
Frankly, it was a joyful ceremony. It was a loving ceremony. It was a fun ceremony. And it was consistent with the voters that I told you allows the independence of a politician in San Francisco.
In August, he led a march across San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge to protest an anti-affirmative action measure upheld this summer by a state court.
Without affirmative action, who would Willie Brown be today?
Without that leg up, I have frankly no idea. And I'm pleased that whatever brain power the good Lord had given me, I employed it appropriately. And at all steps of my development, by the way, there was somebody who extended the opportunity to me that they didn't extend to the general population. And that's what affirmative action really is.
Brown's critics accuse him of headline grabbing, of starting programs and not following through, of ignoring the homeless. His ego and flashy lifestyle rankle.
How much fun has it been for you to shake up the status quo?
It's lots of fun. I would tell you that that's what fuels my energy more than anything else. Taking the customs and the phoniness and all of the misconceptions that are out there and exposing them for what they are and doing it with a great amount of glee. And I'm having a good time doing it.
Where do you go from here?
I've done this now for 32, almost 33 years, and that's more than most people's entire careers. If I don't do anything else, Paula, maybe I'll become a news commentator.
As for his immediate career plans, Willie Brown says he wants to finish out his current term and run for re-election to a second. Barred from seeking a third term, who knows what he'd try after that.
Walk right in, sit right down. Daddy, let your mind roll on.
Remember when folk songs were heard all across America?
Oh, no, don't let the rain come down.
At last, you could get all your favorite folk songs in one complete collection. The Time Life Treasury of Folk Music.
Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Hang down your head and cry. Hang down your head.
You'll hear songs that bring back memories.
So here we are in the Tijuana.
Songs that touch your heart.
We'll sing in the sunshine. We'll laugh every day.
Songs that will live forever.
Michael row the boat ashore. Hallelujah.
The Time Life Treasury of Folk Music. 30 classic songs that take you back to a very special time.
Where have all the flowers gone? Long time past.
You'll hear legendary artists like the Kingston Trio and Harry Belafonte.
Come, Mr. Tallyman, tally me banana. Daylight come and me walk.
So come and sing along.
I had a hammer in the morning.
You'll cherish these songs forever.
Breeze swaying in the summer breeze, showing off
The Time Life Treasury of Folk Music is not in stores, so please call now.
To order Treasury of Folk, call 1-800-325-4343. That's 1-800-325-4343. or send $19.99 for 2 cassettes or $24.99 for 2 CDs, plus $4.50 shipping and handling to Treasury of Folk, Department 1, Richmond, Virginia, or call 1-800-325-4343.
The battle over the well nomination will talk to Majority Leader Trent Lott, plus Army Secretary Togo West discusses sexual harassment in the military. Face the Nation Sunday.
The Army confirms it's going to try to boost morale in its ranks by making it tougher for women to pass the fitness test. According to a poll, the majority of male soldiers think the women have it too easy. The new standard will require more push-ups for women, but still not as many as the men. Most Americans think college sports programs for women don't get the same amount of money that men's sports do. According to a new CBS News poll, almost 90% believe college funding for men and women's sports should be equal. When asked if funding should be equal even if men's sports end up being cut, over 3/4 of those polled still said yes. Well, many young people who dream of playing college sports are facing an intimidating off-field hurdle. New academic eligibility standards set by the NCAA. Cynthia Bowers tells us about the students who aren't making the cut and about the charges the standards could be racially biased.
Courtney Wallace isn't like most freshmen at Duquesne University. He's only worried about one class and one test, a test that will determine his future.
Really like saying you shouldn't even base your going to school, getting your GPA up, or trying to make honor or whatever. Just base it on getting past the SAT.
But Courtney admits he's concerned. Unless he can bring his SAT score up by 50 points, he can't do what he does best. Courtney was one of the top high school players in Pittsburgh last season, and he's a B student. But he ran into problems meeting a complex new NCAA eligibility requirement that combines grade point average with standardized test scores.
This young man, he's a very good person. He's got a tremendous amount of character.
Coach Scott Edgar recruited Courtney despite his academic problems.
The thing that the test cannot and does not tell, it does not tell how bad you want to get your degree.
A new study by the NCAA shows that almost 27% of all freshman student athletes who are African American were academically ineligible last year. That's the highest percentage ever and much higher than that of white student athletes. The NCAA defends its new standards by pointing out, since they were enacted 2 years ago, a greater percentage of college athletes are graduating. But that doesn't resolve a primary complaint, and that is, should eligibility be determined by standardized tests that may be racially and culturally biased?
You're working on getting your GPA up, and then through 12 years, this one test for 3.5 hours can decide your whole career or whatever.
Courtney will take the SAT again next month. In the meantime, he works on his moves, hoping that by next semester, the NCAA will let him back in the game. Cynthia Bowers, CBS News, New York.
What would you give to be more confident? What would you give for the knowledge it takes to move with certainty through every business day?
Just $3.90 a week brings you the Wall Street Journal. Our personal finance guide and decision maker software is free with your paid 10-week subscription. Call now. 800-722-3100. That's 800-722-3100 for the Wall Street Journal.
What in the world? Dad took it when you walked me to school that first day, remember? It's amazing you didn't hate me forever for making you wear those galoshes. You've always tried to protect me, Mom. That's why I bought that extra life insurance. When Dad died, I found out a funeral can cost over $6,000. I never want to leave that kind of burden on you.
If you're a man or woman between the ages of 45 and 75, the Mutual of Omaha companies have a guaranteed life insurance plan that fits you perfectly. It can cost you as little as 29 cents a day, and it's guaranteed in 5 ways. Your payments will never increase. Your benefits will never decrease. There are no health questions. You don't even have to take a physical. You can't be turned down, and it can't be canceled, ever. Call toll-free for your free information. There's no risk or obligation. Call 1-800-351-7900. Operators are available. Call now. 1-800-351-7900.
Would you take a stock tip from this man? Lots of people in this small town did, and they hit it big.
It paid off for me.
The result? One share of stock that cost $40 is now worth almost $7 million. What's their secret? Eye on America, Monday on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
More than 1,000 people attended a remembrance service today for Princess Diana in Los Angeles. Entertainer Michael Jackson and Mayor Richard Riordan were among the mourners at St. James Episcopal Church. Part of the collection will be given to charities Diana supported. Meanwhile, French magistrates plan to reenact the car crash that killed Princess Diana and 2 others. The photographers being investigated in the accident will also be present. And in London, the grieving took a new form today, as Mark Phillips tells us about the hottest item on British store shelves.
Goodbye, Rose.
If anyone needed help remembering Elton John's Candle in the Wind tribute to Diana sung at her funeral, the single hit the London record stores today. The major chain said 250,000 copies. The entire first pressing sold out by noon. 14 days after her death, a week after the funeral, the Diana effect lingers on.
I want to give to the contribution. I'm sorry, it's still upsetting. And it's my little token.
Proceeds from the record will go to Diana's charities. Even the government has waived the sales tax. It'll sell in the millions.
Now, what's interesting is the world sale. There, the all-time champ is Bing Crosby, White Christmas, which has had over half a century to accumulate in excess of 30 million copies. That's a bit of a stretch. But I'm sure that globally this will go over 10.
The song has both helped create and has captured the enduring sense of sadness over Diana. When it was played before a big soccer game here this week, 75,000 sang along. This is a land where the memory of Diana can make skinheads fight back tears. As for Elton John himself, he's called again on TV here for the mourning to end and life to go on.
The less said about it, from my point of view, is the better. I mean, I played at the service, and it was probably the biggest honor I've ever received in my life to be invited to the funeral, let alone sing at it.
They're continuing to pick up the flowers here, but more are being brought. The release of the song won't do anything to diminish the public mood. People keep saying it's time to get back to normal, except nobody can figure out what post-Diana normal is, or what the lasting memorial to her should be.
Goodbye, this road.
Although it is clear what the soundtrack of her death and the amazing events which followed will be. Mark Phillips, CBS News, London.
And that is the news for tonight. Tomorrow on Sunday Morning with Charles Osgood, gold mining versus the environment in Montana. Then on Face the Nation, campaign finance reform, the William Weld controversy, and sexual harassment in the military. I'm Paula Zahn, CBS News in New York. We leave you tonight back in Calcutta at the funeral for Mother Teresa. Good night.
Convinced that being unwanted, being unloved, being just nobody for anybody is a terrible, terrible suffering.
The CBS Saturday Evening News 1997 Emmy Award winner for breaking news.
Imagine buying one share of stock for $40 that's now worth almost $7 million. Lots of people in this small town did. The story Monday on the CBS Evening News.
CBS.